Hello class, Aldo Figueroa here. In this video, I want to go over the HumanIK. So here I have my Maya interface open, and over here on the far right-hand side, currently I have the channel box and layer editor displayed. If you look up here in the top right-hand corner, you'll notice that there's these little icons. I want you to select this icon. It has like a little character icon. I'm going to click on it, and this is going to open the HumanIK. Since I don't have anything in my scene, it presents these options where you could either create a skeleton. If you already have a character, but you need a skeleton, you could either create one that could be readily defined and integrated with your custom character, or if you already have a skeleton, you could create the control rig. Now, these methods right here, this create character definition, this is once you already have a skeleton and a control rig, then you could create the character definition, or you could also create your own custom rig. But what I want to do right here, there's also this quick rig tool. What I want to do right here, I just want to use one of the examples. So I'm going to go ahead and under import samples, I'm going to tell it to import the HumanIK example. I'm going to click on this. And what it gives me, it does several things at once. So here in my perspective view, I could see that I already have what is considered a dummy model. But if we look closely on this model, it's a model, but it also has, we can't see it, it has its own skeleton. I'm going to go into shading. I'm going to tell it to X-ray joints, and you can see that it already has a skeleton here. So this is kind of doing two things at once. Here, let me try something. I'm going to select this one. I believe it's also parented. I'm going to undo, just to bring it back. So since we have this up here in our character, notice that before where it says none, it takes us back to our options. But when we go right here from none to character, a dummy character, we then have options. But what I want to point out right here is that under the definition, this has told Maya within this HumanIK that all of these are different bones and joints that the HumanIK needs. And since they're green, that means that they're all here. If I click on the hand right here, you can see that it also has fingers. We're gonna check it out. I'm gonna zoom in just so you can see them. I'm gonna click on this to go back to the body. So right here, everything is green, meaning that it's set. Now let me just show you, if I offset this, you see how it becomes yellow? That's a warning. That's like there's an issue here. I'm just gonna undo. If you see a yellow, you could still proceed, but it is kind of like a warning. But if it's red, it's gonna tell you that it won't work. Because now what we could do, under source, I have it set to none right now. But I'm going to go ahead and select now control rig. When I click on this, it is now going to, based off the skeleton that we had, create all the rigging controls that we need to be able to manipulate our character. Again, under shading, I do have X-ray joints turned on. I could turn this off, and now we can see the controls are showing through. Again, shading, X-ray joints, just so you can see the skeleton underneath it. It's an option if you wish to use this or not. But what I want to point out now is this menu in here. This is where we're able to control this character. These are the rigging controls for the HumanIK. We move the different controls, which moves our model. For example, I want to go over a couple of things here on these options. Up on top, if we click on this, we could either hide or display your IKs, which are the controls. We definitely want to see those. This next option right here is to hide or show the forward kinematics. This is basically, it's almost like your skeleton, because we also have our skeleton as well. Let me go ahead back to shading. So we have this right as well. So I want these displayed so I can actually see them. Now, these next three options are how you want to manipulate your character. By default right now, it's set to only the body part with this one turned on. For example, to select one of these controls, I could either interactively select the control right here. Say, for example, this is the left wrist. I'm going to switch to the move tool, W on my keyboard. And because I have only the body control, body part selected, if I go ahead, I'm going to drag this down. You can see I'm able to change the placement of this control. If I switch to this one, which is the full body, and I select it, I'm going to select the right control. This time I'm going to select it using one of the controls right here. I'm going to click on this one. And if I click on this box, which is limited to X and Y, if I bring it down, notice that this now has more influence because this is now full body. Whereas I'm gonna undo this. Let me go back to, I'm gonna switch back to body part. And when I drag this down, notice that it's not overriding everything else. It's not moving the placement of your character. So what we have all of these different controls. Up here, we could also, this other option is just for selection where you're only manipulating the selection. Typically, I leave it just at body part. Now, to the right of that are these different pens where you could either pin the translate, the rotation, or both. For example, say I like where this hand is at. Let me put the hand a little bit closer to the body. But now what I want to do, I want to put the elbow pointing outwards a bit. If I select this control, which is this one right here, and I try to move it, notice that it moves the entire hand. In this case, I don't want the hand to move. I want it to be situated right there with the hand selected. I could click on this for the translate. I click on it. And now when I click on the elbow manipulator, you can see that it's rotating the hand around. So it's able to stay in that position. So now I'm able to flare out the elbow. Now the other option that we also have is we could pin the rotation. Let's see, let me try to situate this one where, let's see, I'll use this arm again. This time I'm gonna unpin the translate, but now what I want to do is I want to pin the rotation. So I'm gonna switch to my rotate tool where I have the hand right here. And if I select this one, switch to my move tool, you see how the hand is still pointing downward? It's because the rotation is pinned. Let me undo this. Let me take off the rotation for the pin. When I lift up the elbow, notice that the hand is in that same rotation, but it's not continually pointing in that same direction. Let me go ahead and pin it again for the rotation. Now check the angle. If I move this up, depending on how you're posing or are going to be manipulating your character, you might want to pin either one of these, or if you want to pin them both, you could just click on this pin right here and it pins both the translates and the rotation. So there's no need to individually select one or the other. Just click here and this will, oh, actually my mistake. This will release all pinning. So if I have them, I could click on this one and they're no longer pinned. Even though the icons are there, they're not pinned. So I could click on this, I could move this up. But if I release them, this one here, or I release them, it's still pinned. So this is the HumanIK. A couple of things that I want to point out is that at the bottom right here, this is kind of like the placement node. So you're able to place your character. If I click on this, this is the root of my skeleton. So notice that the ankles are pinned both for translate and rotation. So if I get rid of these, let me unpin them for both. Well, they're both unpinned, and I could move my character here. Let me go ahead back to this one. I'm just going to unpin these just so you could see what it looks like. And then I try to move the hip. Oh, I guess it's still connected. So it's not allowing me to go beyond it. I could manually go beyond it. I believe now that I done that, so we could able to manipulate it. I'm going to undo these steps. There we are. So this is the human IK in a nutshell. So in the next example, we are going to connect our custom character to this human IK. Uh, we're going to import a custom character that we created using character generator from the Autodesk web application site. And we're going to use the human IK. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next video.